Hi golfers, Nick here from Nick Taylor Golf. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on golf tips. This week on golf tips, we're going to discuss the takeaway in the golf swing. I think this is a really important part. What happens as you take that club back? I hear various descriptions of this, such as one piece takeaway, but today I'm going to describe how I feel the club should be taken back. I've got the grid set up here. You may have seen other videos on this. If you haven't, I'll link them in the description below. But just to summarise quickly, just to point out what I've got set up here. I've got a club set up here which represents my swing centre. So that's my left shoulder and the club from face on. If you notice here, I've got these clubs at an angle. That's my target line. Notice how these clubs are slightly inside, so they're probably roughly like 20 degrees in. So this represents the club path on the outside and the inside the hand path. So notice how they're moving round in a bit of an arc on the ground. Notice how they're moving in at the same rate. So what we're looking for as we take the club back is the club and the hands to move in at the same rate. And I see a lot of golfers making mistakes early on in the golf swing where the club and the hands will start to tend to move too far out. So that would look like the club moving more in a straight line like that. And I see this a lot where golfers are struggling with the club moving too far inside the hands. They almost try and go out too much, and even then you can see sometimes the hands move out but the club move in, and that's where the forearms have over rotated. So what I'm looking for is the club and the hands moving in at the same rate in the takeaway. So there's various movements happening as you do this. So if I set up here, I've got the ball back from the swing centre, so I've built in my draw, and what I'm going to start to do is as I take the club back, there's a few things happening. So notice my knees are at the same angle here. By the time I get to shaft parallel position 2P2, you'll start to see the knee flex change. You'll be able to see my left knee now, which you probably couldn't see when I set up. So that's the knee flex changing. Notice the left knee flexing forward, the back leg straightening slightly. I'm not locking it straight away. The amount the knees flex changes depends on the club you're using and the length of the golf swing. But by the time the club gets to position 2, you should start to see the left knee if you're looking at a camera from down the line here. Also, my left shoulder is starting to move down as my body tilts and extends, which I've talked about in other videos, but there's a lot of things happening at once. So other checkpoints to look for: hands on the club moving in. Notice the club face position at this point. It's roughly at the angle of my spine at this point. So the amount I'm tilted over is roughly the angle of that club face. So a lot of golfers that try and get that sort of the toe pointing upwards like this, and what that causes is a lot of rotation in the forearms at that point, and the club will tend to get inside the hands. So we want the hands and the club moving in at the same rate, club face at that sort of angle there. What you'll notice as I swing this club back is the hands are probably sort of passing my belt here, and I'll see a lot of golfers as they swing back almost getting disconnected and the hands not passing the body until probably the head or the shoulder. The hands will sort of exit the body pretty much, you can see here, the bottom of my bicep. That's kind of what we're looking for, and that will keep the swing on this grid here. This is kind of like a roadmap for the golf swing. We want to try and keep the club and the hands on this circle the whole way through the golf swing, and that starts right from the beginning. If you start to take the club back and taking it too far from the outside, you're going to struggle to get that club back on the inside. You're going to probably struggle to draw the golf ball. You do see golfers that take it out and drop it back in, but that's a little bit harder to control. What I'm saying is you should try and take the hands on the club around the body in a bit of an arc. So that's the best way I find to keep it consistent. So if we look at the swing from the face on quickly, just to point a couple of things out. As I take my setup here, notice my feet are flared out. That's quite key. I see a lot of golfers as they set up with the feet straight, and the problem with that is it restricts how much you can turn, also puts a lot of stress on the knees. If you're swinging through that foot, you're going to twist and you're going to put a bit of stress on the knees. So feet out and knees slightly out as well as you set up. So I'm going to hit a shot here. The feet out, knees out. Talked about the different movements, the shoulder moving down, knee flex changing, hands on the club moving in. And if I put the ball back on the arc here from my left shoulder, this ball should draw. So let's give it a go. know, pretty good shot there, tiny little draw, really good contact, and hopefully you saw that on the video there, the hands on the club moving inwards. So I've given you some checkpoints there. So when you're videoing your golf swing, make sure you get the camera down the line, in line with your hands. If you're looking at it from face on, try and get it as centered as possible. And the main thing really is to be aware of these clubs, make sure you're tracing the arc on the ground, make sure you check right from the beginning, the knee flex, the shoulder moving down, check, make sure the hands are moving inwards at this point. If you can do that, you've got a good chance of repeating the golf swing consistently and drawing the golf ball. So golfers, if you've got any comments on that, please post them in the box below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, and you can follow me on my other social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram and Twitter.